Welcome to Weingut Gindorf and welcome to the virtual tasting of the 2018 Riesling Auslese. Now, Riesling is still the king of the German wine varietals, and Auslese is probably the highest expression of that varietal that we can really hope for. So this is going to be a very special wine. And why is that? Well, in order to answer that question, we really need to look a little bit at the German system for ranking quality of wine. And you'll remember that we have 4 levels of quality for German wines, starting with Wein, going up to Landwein, going up to Qualitätswein. That's where we start here at Weingut Gindorf. And then at the very top of the pyramid, we have Prädikatswein, or wines of special distinctions. But being the Germans, that was not fine enough for their quality system. We can actually break down that top of the pyramid into 5 additional stages of quality. So looking at those Prädikatsweine, we start with Kabinett and then move on to Spätlese, or late harvest, and then comes Auslese, or selected harvest. Now above Auslese, we do have 2 additional steps. Here's where you find your Eiswein, your Beerenauslese, your Trockenbeerenauslese, but these are not really mainstream wines. These are wines that are made after the grapes have frozen on the vine or after they've started to raisinate. So these aren't the kind of regular table wines that we know of. That means that Auslese is the highest expression of quality that we have for mainstream wines. And this system all goes back to the ripeness of the wines, how much natural sugar is in the grapes when we bring them in from the vineyard. In order to be classified as an Auslese, the grapes have to have 88 degrees of what we call Auslese. Now, Auslese and 88 degrees of Auslese, that's essentially a system for measuring how much sugar is in the grapes. And 88 degrees of Auslese, for those of you who are familiar with other systems, is about comparable to 20.8 or 21 bricks. That's a very, very sweet grape. That's going to be about as sweet as a table grape that you might have for breakfast in the morning. In order to measure that sugar content, in about 2 weeks' time, in mid-September, we'll start coming out to the vineyards with a device that we call a refractometer. And we'll take that refractometer, and from various points of the vineyard, we'll take grapes, squeeze the juice onto the lens of the refractometer, and by looking into this device, we'll be able to see approximately what level of sugar the grapes are bringing with them, whether that's in bricks or, like we use in Germany here, Auslese. We'll measure every 2 to 3 days as the grapes start to ripen so that we know exactly when the point is that we want to come get this fruit. Now, it's a bit of a race against time because the weather is playing a part here. That means that only in the warmest years, where the grapes get really ripe, so the weather's been perfect throughout the summer, and where the weather plays a great role during the harvest time, where we're able to keep this fruit healthy late into the season and give these grapes a really long hang time, do we even have a chance at making a really great Auslese. And that's what happened in 2018, a warm, consistent summer, a beautiful harvest period, super healthy fruit coming in from the vineyard, really clean fruit that allowed us in the cellar to do as little as possible and bottle that summer in this Riesling Auslese. And that's how this wine came to be. Now, in addition, once we went through all of the testing to get it approved as an Auslese, we put this back into the system for the medal round, and this one came out as a silver medal winner. It's not a wine that you're going to drink every day. It's not a wine where you're going to sit down, open a bottle, and drink the entire bottle watching a movie. It's a very special wine, but that means that there's a lot of great circumstances to try it. So let's look at when you would want to have this 2018 Riesling Auslese in your glass. So what kind of occasions might be right to serve a special wine like this 2018 Riesling Auslese? Well, any number of occasions will do. Of course, a lot of people like to sit down and just enjoy a glass on its own, but it really goes well with food. I know a lot of people that like to serve an Auslese as an aperitif, maybe paired with like a goat cheese or something like that. Think about the effect that you get when you pair goat cheese with like a mango marmalade or chutney, something like that. That balance of the saltiness of the cheese and the sweetness that comes through the wine is really special. As a main course, you might think of something like a spicy Indian dish or a spicy Thai dish, something like a chicken or a shrimp jalfrezi, or anything that combines spice and tropical fruits like mango or apricots. Anything like that is going to pair really well with this wine, and the sweetness of the wine is just going to cut that spiciness just a little bit. But the classic place to serve an Auslese is as a dessert wine. Really classic pairing is an Auslese with a blue cheese, a nice strong blue cheese. Again, that contrast between the saltiness and the kind of crispness of the cheese and the sweetness of the Auslese is really fantastic as a dessert option. Any kind of a fruit-based kind of a tart, like an apple cake or an apple pie, any kind of a pear tart, anything like that is going to pair wonderfully with this wine. And recently we introduced this wine, or we talked about this wine at a restaurant in Essen here in Germany that has a wonderful Italian chef. He did a panna cotta as a dessert, and this wine paired really beautifully with a panna cotta. So a lot of those cream-based, milk-based desserts, they are also a perfect place to showcase a wine like this. Important is that the dessert should never be sweeter than the wine. You always want the wine to be sweeter than the dessert. That's why we're looking at kind of cheeses, milk-based dishes, and some of those kind of natural sugar fruit tarts. Pairs wonderfully with the 2018 Riesling Auslese. Now we can go into the cellar and see what the group has to say about this wine. Welcome to Weingut Gindorf. Here we are in the tasting room, and we have to talk about this 2018 Auslese that we've got in the glass. So we talked about the fact that this is kind of the highest quality that you can get in an everyday wine before you cross over into that Eiswein Baron Auslese category. What are you guys picking up on the color here?
Oh, it's a beautiful light yellow, I think.
Yeah.
Light straw.
Very clear.
And on the nose, I mean, this is a fruit bomb, isn't it?
Yes.
What are you picking up off of this?
I'm getting some apricot. Yeah, maybe tropical fruit a little bit too.
Yeah, a lot of stone fruit, that, like you say, apricot, peach getting off of this.
Yeah, I get a little bit of honey.
Honey, yeah, that sweetness definitely comes through, and that tracks really well with this blue cheese, with the apple cake and everything. You can't beat this combination at all.
It's also very, very fruity.
And there's that mouthfeel. It's like a lanolin-y kind of mouthfeel. It really coats the tongue. And although it's super sweet, there's more than 77 grams of residual sugar per liter in this, but it doesn't stick in your mouth. Your teeth aren't kind of sticking together.
It's integrated with the wine.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really well integrated.
I would say it's not sicky sweet. It's a really nice sweet.
Yeah, and you still get that kind of racy acidity down the sides of your tongue. So even though it's really sweet, you kind of come back wanting more.
Exactly.
So, well, that's been the 2018 Riesling Auslese. That's also the end of our summer tasting series. We really like to hear what you have to say about the Auslese or any of the other wines in the comments section. Now, we're going to go on a little bit of a break because in about 2 weeks from now, maybe 3, hopefully, we're going to be bringing in grapes, and it's going to be harvest time here. So we're going to have our focus someplace else. We'll probably come back and give a couple of updates as to how harvest is going and talk to you again before Christmas. But until then, please stay safe. Thanks for joining us, and this has been us here from Weingut Gindorf.